We can go with record.
So, Mr. Smith, you spoke earlier today about threats and attacks against, made by Donald Trump against witnesses, prosecutors, judges who had challenged him, including threats against yourself. Do you remember that?
Yes.
So, did President Trump target you personally in posts on Truth Social?
Yes.
Are you aware, for example, that he called you a, quote, deranged lunatic, unquote, quote, Trump hater, unquote, and, quote, psycho?
Yes.
Do you recall that on October 15th this year, President Trump speaking to reporters standing next to the Attorney General and the Deputy Attorney General said, quote, deranged Jack Smith, in my opinion, is a criminal, unquote. Then he also talked about investigating Lisa Monaco, Andrew Weissman, and Adam Schiff, saying, quote, I hope they're looking at all these people and I'm allowed to find out. I'm in theory the chief law enforcement officer, unquote.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
And are you aware that President Trump posted on Truth Social on October 29th of this year that, quote, these thugs should all be investigated and put in prison, a disgrace to humanity, deranged Jack Smith is a criminal, with 3 exclamation marks, unquote.
That may be. I know there were several posts like this.
Okay. Do you think those were a direction, potential direction to the Department of Justice to retaliate against you because of your role as special counsel in the investigation of him?
Yes.
You are joined by your counsel today from Covington and Burling, is that right?
Yes.
And did President Trump or the White House take any actions against your attorneys due to their relationship with you?
Yes.
And what action did they take?
They filed an executive order against the law firm and sought to withdraw the security clearances of my attorney.
Okay, I'm just going to offer this as Exhibit 20, and this is exactly what you just talked about. So, Exhibit 20 is an executive order issued by
I know it.
the White House on February 25, 2025. And it is entitled Suspension of Security Clearances and Evaluation of Government Contracts. And I just want to read into the record that this executive order says, I hereby direct the Attorney General and all other relevant heads of executive departments and agencies to immediately take steps consistent with applicable law to suspend any active security clearances held by Peter Koski and all members, partners, and employees of Covington and Burling LLP who assisted former Special Counsel Jack Smith during his time as Special Counsel. pending a review and determination of their roles or responsibilities, if any, in the weaponization of the judicial process. And the executive order also directs the Attorney General and heads of agencies to take such action as are necessary to terminate any engagement of Covington and Burling LLP by any agency to the maximum extent permitted by law and consistent with the memorandum that shall be issued by the Director of the Office of Management and Budget. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
To your knowledge, is this executive order still in effect?
I believe it is.
What do you think was his purpose for issuing this executive order?
To seek retribution against me.
Is it also to harm your relationship with your attorney and to make it more difficult for a lawyer to represent you?
I think it's to chill people from having an association with me.
I just want to say for the record, we're still here, proud to represent Jack Smith.
Thank you. So once President Trump took office, were members of the Special Counsel's office, was their employment affected?
Yes.
Were they fired?
Yes.
Do you know roughly how many people were fired?
I don't have specific numbers.
Is it more than a dozen?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Do you know who fired the former members of the Special Counsel's office?
You mean who told them or who issued?
Yeah, who actually communicated? Well, let us break it. Do you know who authorized the firing of these staff members?
I'm assuming the president did. I don't know the specifics, but
Okay. Do you know how the termination messages were communicated?
I don't recall if how they were communicated.
And these are career attorneys and agents, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. They're not political appointees. They've served different administrations with different political parties at the head. Is that right?
That's correct.
Do you know what justifications were given for terminating those staff members?
My understanding is no justification was given.
Are you aware of any reason to target these individuals besides their work on your investigation or association with your investigation?
None. I think it's a travesty.
Do you believe, well, you just answered it, but do you believe it's proper to retaliate against career prosecutors for their involvement in a federal investigation?
Of course not.
What about the support staff who aided those prosecutors?
I don't understand that, why you would do that.
And what about FBI agents who carried out this investigation?
As I said earlier, I don't understand why someone would seek to do that.
Do you think that firing all of these public servants make the country safer?
No.
Why not?
As I mentioned previously, I think when you fire people who are career public servants serving both parties over many decades, you lose the expertise about how to do the job properly, and that has an effect on the department today, and it'll have an effect on the department for some time if those people aren't there to be leaders and to teach young lawyers how to be public servants.
Do you feel like you have a target on your back?
I believe that President Trump wants to seek retribution against me because of my role as special counsel.
Would you be surprised if President Trump directed the DOJ to indict you?
No.
Are you concerned about the safety of people who associate with you, like your former colleagues and your attorneys here today?
I would prefer, if it's all right, not to talk about my safety because I think doing so could in fact endanger my safety and those of people around me.
Understood.
I'm going to turn a little bit to the folks who actually attacked the Capitol on January 6th. I believe your report talks about the rioters, the crowd that violently attacked the law enforcement officers attempting to secure the building on page 25 of your report. One of those rioters was Daniel Rodriguez, who multiple times plunged a stun gun into the neck of Officer Michael Fanone, causing Officer Fanone to suffer a heart attack and sustain other injuries. Mr. Rodriguez was subsequently sentenced to 12 years in prison after a federal judge called him a, quote, one-man army of hate. Are you aware of President Trump pardoning Mr. Daniel Rodriguez?
Not him specifically, but my understanding is he pardoned all the people who violently assaulted police officers that day.
So in pardoning all the people who assaulted police officers that day, another example is a Mr. Patrick McCaughey III, who used a stolen police riot shield to crush Officer Daniel Hodges in a metal door frame at the entrance of the Lower West Terrace Tunnel, and he left Officer Hodges trapped, bleeding, even crying for help from his fellow officers. Officer Hodges testified, and this is a quote, if I was there much longer being assaulted in such a way, I knew that there was very likely I wouldn't be able to maintain my consciousness. Judge Trevor McFadden described Mr. McCaughey as a, quote, poster child of all that was dangerous and appalling about January 6th, stating that his actions were, quote, some of the most egregious crimes ever committed that day, end quote. Mr. McCaughey was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison. Are you aware that Mr. McCaughey was one of those rioters who assaulted law enforcement on January 6th that were pardoned by President Donald Trump?
Again, I don't know his specific name, but I know people like him who did things like he did were pardoned.
And are you aware of the more than 140 police officers who were injured by the pro-Trump mob on January 6th, sustaining injuries such as cracked ribs, traumatic brain injuries, smashed spinal discs, and heart attacks as rioters used bats, flagpoles, chemical sprays, stolen police shields, and batons to beat officers? Are you aware of those facts from that day?
Very much so.
Do you believe that pardoning individuals like this who committed crimes against law enforcement that day makes our country safer?
It does not, in my view.
Can you explain why, from your prosecutorial experience, prosecuting gangs, prosecuting violent crimes, why pardoning individuals who committed violence on January 6th doesn't make our country safer?
Well, I don't think it's really my opinion. I think we've already seen some of the people who were pardoned go on to commit other serious crimes, and I don't have much doubt that in the coming months and years we'll see more of that. People who would otherwise be incarcerated, communities protected from them, they're out in communities, and my view is that we will continue, unfortunately, to see people who were pardoned for committing violence on January 6th continuing to commit additional crimes. That's my view.
Can we go off the record for a second? Were you aware that on November 10th of 2025, President Trump issued a second sweeping pardon proclamation granting a, quote, full and complete and unconditional, end quote, pardons to at least 77 individuals related to efforts to overturn the 2020 election? Were you aware of that second pardon from November 10th of 2025?
I was.
And many of these individuals that were one of these 77 individuals, they were individuals identified as unindicted co-conspirators in your investigation. Is that correct as well?
I believe that's correct.
Some of these individuals that were pardoned include Mr. Giuliani, who we talked about earlier today, who was willing to spread knowingly false claims and work to subvert the results of the 2020 election. Are you aware of that?
Yes.
I guess taking a step back and looking at the fact that President Trump pardoned these folks, these 77 individuals who were previously working to overturn the election, the 2020 election, what message does that send to folks living in the country, particularly as it relates to election integrity in future elections?
You know, I just, I don't understand why you would pardon people who assaulted law enforcement. I think it sends lots of messages. One of the messages is to law enforcement. The people who defended the Capitol that day, in my view, are heroes, and I think pardoning people who assaulted them is wrong.
And what about pardoning the folks who actually worked on the conspiracy to overturn the election? What message does that send about election integrity to folks living in the country?
I don't have a full list of all the people that he pardoned there, and so I don't want to speak generally about all those cases. We didn't charge anybody other than Donald Trump, and so I'm not going to speak about pardoning people who weren't charged with crimes.